I'm a 15-year-old senior high student. During high school, I was defined by three main things: hardworking, an outstanding scholar, and an excellent orator. All right, that might be too overconfident. And among all the chicken soup for the so-called that my parents instilled me, there was one printed in my heart. And that is, try to stand out, as always. I then forced myself to work extra hard to always be the top in a learning community. It did pay off, leading to scholarship leaders and accolades. While indulging in all these glories and flattering remarks, I knew something was terribly wrong deep inside my heart. Now notice that I used the word forced, as if it's an urgent assignment, a duty, instead of the pursuit of my passion or any of my growth avenue. I sure blame myself for this. Gradually I realized that the biggest problem behind was toxic peer pressure. And by this term, I do not mean students encouraging friends to go smoking, go drinking, getting squiffy, not that kind of peer pressure. It's the kind that compels you to always strive to outdo others in each and everything. It is as noxious as a drug and had imperceptibly influenced my attitude towards learning, and even a purpose of working hard. Well, I've never known that I would feel such anxiety when getting an A, while everyone else got an A+ and for the month. And since when the marks has become a tool for comparison instead of the way to evaluate myself and ourselves. In a society where toxic peer pressure reigns supreme, this habit of passive learning breaks the quintessence of knowledge. And that is my concern. I fear that today, the student's motive of learning is largely driven by the peer pressure, when it actually should be the pleasure of our own pursuit. And in the process, Koshinobu claims that a flower does not think of competing to the flower next to it. It just blooms. So today, let us consider, first, from my experience, how toxic peer pressure once killed my healthy proactivity towards learning. And then, we'll discuss the harm of doing so, before finally coming up with some not so simple solutions to hopefully transform this toxic pressure into something positive. Let's get started. All right, I want to start my story with the concept of the big fish, little pond effect, that the equally able students tend to feel dividends in higher achieving groups. And I, all the way from middle to high school, was always in a big pond, a giant pond. Meaning that all the students in my peers were the selection of the very best students in grade. Well, it was tough indeed to go from being this overachiever who excels at everything, a big fish, as on the top picture, to a small fish who was basically dirt on the toenail of the earth. It was hard. And here in China, I can tell you that to survive in such a pond, competition is inevitable. No one's forcing you to compete, to spend extra time on TOEFL classes, I always suffered, or to join tons of fancy competitions. But hey, look around. It's just what everyone else does. And I lingered in between, tacitly approved to these rules. I was so aware of excellence, but ended up the least able to tolerate mediocrity, which in this case happened to be myself. I quickly became stuck in this uncomfortable paradox. My ambition of being ignited by greatness, but everything I knew of myself really just pointed to a destiny. of underachievement. A situation clouded my life in many ways. I was not enjoying the things I was doing, and therefore not being proactive. You know, I suffered in math class of being the least intelligent students in super fast reading, ignoring the pleasure and prowess I gained after solving a calculus question that puzzled me for days and coming up with my own approach to it. I focused on winning in badminton game. I really want to win. But meanwhile, I ignored the pleasure I got when treating it as my greatest passion. You know, this plethora of eagerness to stand out among peers has destroyed all my proactivity towards learning. And somehow turned my whole life into this vicious circle of jealousy. And this over-competitiveness is what made the peer pressure toxic. Luckily, I changed. I changed from someone who always force-fed themselves to someone that can actually enjoy the process of learning for myself. And what this does is that it creates a positive sense of pressure, getting rid of any negative ones. The pressure to succeed, to win, comes no longer from the fear of failure, to be the button of my class, but rather because it's just so fun to do well. Well, it changed me from many aspects. I started to write my own blogs about my poverty relief journey. I picked up track and field, which I've given up a long time ago because of the heavy burden from school. And I found myself so interested in public speaking. So I decided to do original oratory and NSCA competition. And it is because of this proactivity that I've energized myself into finishing significant goals. The blogs I wrote got over 10,000 views. And I got my very first medal on the school sports day, and geez, I'm doing a tech talk right now, which I've been dreaming of since I was a kid. How amazing. So, toxic peer pressure. I hope that we can all agree that this is deplorable. How I wish I could have an epiphany before it all started. And if you're the one who suffered, you still got a chance. So, if you're the one who suffered right now, promise me something. Get out of that nefarious circle right now. Because I know it really hurts. So, here's a simple 3-word mantra to follow. Just keep playing. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not referring to video games, that'd be horrible. But rather, you should continually foster a sense of play in everything you do. Treat your life as a game. Do everything proactively with both passion and curiosity. As we're losing is a part of every game and is going to happen eventually. But do you realize that the motif of learning should never be replaced by a chase for the acceptance from your peers? So, hey there, try to stand out, as always. Or should I say, try to stay out of the fierce circle and be amazing, as you always are. Thank you.